Welcome back, guys. Welcome to Cloud DevOps batch 53. So before I start the session, I would like to give a quick recap on what's being covered in the previous session. So previous session, we have created a server using the AMI with the name of the AMI CentOS 7 Linux Learning AMI, which is available in North Virginia. And there is an image, a Linux CentOS 7 image, which works with username and password. And that is a AMI which is created exclusively for you guys to practice Linux more with more comfort. And we also see, okay, SSH keys is not widely used in the industry. Rather than that, username and password is widely used. So we are going with username and password approach. And we also seen, okay, what are the different SSH clients that can be installed on Windows machine. One of the option is Putty, which is little old and which can be used legally on any computer, even if it is a corporate computer. Putty is very basic tool. And Git Bash or Excel. Excel is very modern tool where you can open or where you can connect a number of servers. So zoom in, zoom out. So you can change the text font. All these things can be done with Excel. Yesterday I have shown you how to download the Excel and how to install the Excel and how can we use the Excel. And if you're a Mac user, so you'll have a default terminal by default. Okay, you don't have to download anything. And if you want some enhanced version, you can download item. So item version 2 is latest. Okay, and we created a server and we connected to the server, right? So we have created a server with my and we connected to that using the username and password. Okay, so the next thing that I would like to talk more about is I would like to talk more about the billing. Okay, I would like to talk more about the billing. So I'm interested in more talking about the spot server. So before talking about the spot server, I would like to give a quick recap on demand server. So on demand server is like, okay, whenever you create a server on ad hoc basis. So whenever you're not sure how long you're going to use the server, so at that point of time, you end up going with on demand server. Typically, okay, in corporate, okay, your companies, okay, each and every company has their product manager, and where they'll directly have agreement with the Amazon AWS, where they'll buy a lot of reserved instances and will keep it with you. And if you are using reserved instances, you will get 60 to 70% discounts. Okay, I have shown you a clear so AWS pricing calculator. Okay, so if you go with the pricing calculator, if you mention that I would like to use this server for this many amount of time, or if someone comes and asks you, I would like to create server or I would need these many servers, I have also explained what all you need to ask before you provision the infrastructure is what we saw. Also, the billing of the infrastructure varies based on the region that you have chosen. Okay, among all, certain services are costly in certain regions and certain services are inexpensive in certain regions. Okay, but irrespective of the region, you need to create the infrastructure where as per your business needs are and where your business mentions. Okay, you don't have any control on that, but you always need to stick to the law of the land. Okay, so I would like to create infrastructure in North Virginia. So North Virginia code is US East 1. So select that. And I would like to check the billing for EC2. EC2 configure, and I would like to go with, okay, I would like to go with T3.medium or something. Okay, so let me go here. Number of instances that you want is one server, for example. And if you would like to go with any family, so I would like to go with the T series, T3. So I would like to go with the T series. And among all these are the available versions. I would like to say T3 2x large, which is nothing but double extra large, which is going to give you 8 CPUs and 30 gigs of memory, 32 gigs of memory. And if you are going to pay, okay, if you are going to pay on demand, okay, the monthly billing to you will be, okay, 242.94, 242.94. So yesterday I deleted that. So I would like to 242. Okay, let's call it 243 into 12. Okay, so it will be billing calculator 243 into 12, which is going to be 2916 dollar. Okay, $2916. And again, if you give a commitment to them that I'm going to consume this server for next 1 year or 3 years. Right now, Amazon supports only 1 year and 3 year. Even Google also does the same. So if you mention that I'm going to give you a commitment that I would like to go for the next 3 years. Okay, you can mention I would like to use it for the next 3 years. If you give a commitment to them that you are going to uh, use this for the next 1 year, okay, irrespective of that whether you use or not, you will be billed. And again, the payment can be done on monthly basis. Every month you'll get a bill, or if you are ready to pay, partial upfront where you can pay some amount now and rest of the amount later. Or if you're ready to pay the huge amount right now itself, you'll get certain amount of discounts. For example, here in this case, you are getting $1705. So come here, it's gonna cost you $1705. Almost you got, okay, almost you got, okay, almost you got how much percent of discount? So almost you got 30, 50%, 45% of discount you got it, right? If you go with reserved instance. Again, if you go with, okay, 2916 into 3, 2916 into 3, it will be 2916 into 3. If you use it for 3 years, how much it will be? It will be close to 8,900, okay, for 3 years, right? Okay, if you go with 3 years. You give a commitment that you would like to use it for the next 3 years, the discount that you would get is this. Go to the calculator and say that I would like to use it for 3 years. See, you almost got 66% discount. So it's gonna cost you that much less. Okay. But I told you 3 to 8 or something. What is that? 3287. Okay. 3287 is the billing that you get. If you see this, you almost got a 66% discount, almost 3% discount, okay, when compared to on demand. Okay, so we know, but here we saw the drawbacks. Okay, when to use that, but when not to use that is something based on the requirement. So whenever you're provisioning servers where you don't have any idea or where you're not forecasting that how long you're going to use these servers, then you end up going with on-demand servers. For example, when you're very sure how long you're going to use this, okay, so in majority of the companies, you take any company, every company will go with reserved instances, okay, reserved plan. Okay, where they have a commitment with the companies. Okay, not even 63%, they even get 70-75% discounts as well. Okay, telling that I'm going to use this much CPU, this much memory for these many years. Whether you use it or not, that doesn't matter. You're gonna pay for if you give a commitment. Because of your commitment, Amazon has given you 70, close to 70% discount. Now you cannot say that I'm going to use for 1 month and destroy, I don't pay. No, that doesn't work. And another instance is spot instance. If you go with spot instance, you would get more than 75%, 95% discount. Okay, 95% of the discount you can avail if you are using spot instances. Hey Manu, but if your spot instance is giving you 95% of the discount, then why on-demand instances and why reserved instances are there? Okay, that is one of the most common question. This spot instance is one of the most centric item in either Azure or Google Cloud. And right now, entire business focus more on spot. Okay, because end of the day, what so whatsoever the sophisticated products you made, end of the day, it comes and it drills down at, okay, billing. Okay, it's not like how much company is giving you a salary. You also need to show how much you save to the company when you join any company. So try to reduce the billing. That gives you some nice aspects and like good vibes on you. Okay, that's where I would suggest most of my students to identify the areas which can reduce the billing in your company. Okay, so when to use spot, let's talk about spot instance. Okay, what is spot instance? Okay, AWS spot instance. So guys, if for example, if you assume this as an Amazon data center, keeping the future forecasts in mind. For example, if you are having 100 customers right now, and 100 customers might use 10,000 servers. Okay, they might even use 15,000 servers. Who knows? Whenever they say that I want these many servers, you need to be in a position to supply those many servers. Okay, that's what the business is, right? So keeping those aspects in mind, you need to design. Okay, you need to have your workflow and you need to have your infrastructure ready in your data center, right? For example, this is your data center. You need to design the solutions keeping the future forecasting in mind. You need to host your infrastructure. Okay, so keeping the future demands in mind, in the Amazon data centers, they'll have huge amount of servers. Okay, so which I would say Amazon data centers majority of the times would run with 40 or 50% of the workloads. So what about the rest of the servers, or what about the workloads which are not being used by any of the customers? How Amazon can make money out of it? Okay, based on the leftover resources in Amazon data centers and Amazon infrastructure, Amazon is going to allocate you resources from the excessive infrastructure. Okay, so spot servers. Let's talk about spot servers. Okay, so let's try to talk about it. Spot server, can be availed at 95% discount, and sometimes more than that. Okay, at greater than 95% discount. But but there are some conditions. Okay, so spot servers. Okay, infra provision from the leftover resources, or servers provisioned AWS excessive resources. When you're doing a party, you would expect 100 guests. Sometimes 20, 30 guests may excessively come, right? Or there are the out of the 100 guests itself, there are few of the guests who can eat more. So keeping their demands in mind, rather than you buying exactly for 100 people, you're going to buy something extra, right? Similarly, even in Amazon, they're gonna keep the excessive workloads, excessive infrastructure, keeping the unforeseen workloads in mind. For example, if someone all of a sudden requests, I want 10,000 servers, Amazon should be in a position to provision that. So keeping the future demands and keeping the future forecast in Amazon will host certain amount of extra infrastructure in their AWS data centers. So whenever you are ready to get some infrastructure for lesser amount of cost, you can use spot servers. But there are certain conditions, okay, things to remember when you're using spot server while using a spot server. Okay, these are very important points. Okay, so these are very important points. In most of the times, people will say in interviews that I have done that, I have done this. Okay, so the moment you say that you have done this, you should be very careful while answering this. Okay, spot servers, spot EC2 servers cannot be run for more than 24 hours continuously. Okay, so so the very first condition is, okay, let's try to keep this. Spot servers are not for, okay, this is very important. Okay, production servers. Okay, spot servers are not for production servers. Okay, spot is only for dev or QA or non-prod servers. Okay, not for critical servers. Keep this point in mind. And second important thing is second important thing is you cannot run, for example, if you create a server, it's your wish how long you want to use, right? So whenever you create any of the server as a spot, Amazon is going to stop your server or terminate your server. Okay, Amazon, it cannot guarantee you. Amazon can terminate your server or terminate your spot server at any time. And another thing, if you start a server, you cannot run the server for more than 24 hours continuously. Okay, AWS can terminate your spot server at any time with or without notice. Amazon on paper says that whenever Amazon needs more resources, for example, there are 30% of the resources which are excessive in Amazon, and they have provisioned it to customers like us who want to use Spot. Now, all of a sudden, the rest of the 70% of the customers who are ready to pay more, if they say all of a sudden I want 200 servers, 300 servers, what Amazon gonna do is those spot workloads are going to be terminated and will be allocated to the main users. Okay, terminating the spot requests. Okay, so that's the reason you should never ever run your workloads, production workloads, on using the spot servers. And you cannot run any of the spot server for more than 24 hours. Okay, all right. Now another thing another thing another important thing is, okay, this statement is gray, which means earlier you don't get an option to stop the spot server, stop or shut down. Now, from last 7 or 8 months, okay, earlier you don't get an option to stop or shut down the spot server, but now they recently 6 months before from last 6 months they have released the option stop the spot server as well, but you need to select certain options. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do all these things, but you need to be very careful. Okay, you should never ever choose any of the workloads with spot. Okay, even when you're designing certain solutions, for example, okay, for example, if you're having a server, okay, if you're having a solution, for example, if you are having a solution, if you're having a solution like a cart application, okay, so for example, if you are running cart, okay, for example, if you are running a cart server, you need 6 servers, for example. So how we design the solution is, even in our trainings when we implement the project, how we will be designing the solution is, for example, if I need 6 cart applications, okay, what I'll do is, so 40% of the, even on production, 40% of the resources I will design on, okay, on demand or reserved, and rest of the 40 or 50% I'll design on the top of, okay, I'll design on the top of, okay, spot servers. Okay, this way you can save a lot of money. Okay, so this is something which many of the people does that. Okay, so if you design this way, even because of any capacity demands, if Amazon terminates any of the instances, still your business will work. Okay, so this is also called as 50-50 principle or 60-40 principle, okay, which in many companies they will use. Okay, which means certain set of applications, certain instances, okay, certain replicas, okay, of applications you will run on demand, certain you will be running on not on demand, reserved, and certain you'll be running on spot servers. In this case, even if Amazon terminates this server, still your business can sustain. Okay. Uh, all right, guys. These are very important points. Okay. So you cannot run any of the spot server for more than 24 hours. Okay. Amazon stops. It cancels your request. Okay. Amazon cancels your request. What is the request? I'll tell you. And you cannot use your spot server for production workloads. Spot is only meant for non-production and non-critical workloads. And earlier, you don't get an option to stop your server. The only option you get is start and terminate. And from last 6 months or 7 months, they introduced the concept of stop option in Spot as well. Earlier, we were not having that option. But in interviews, if your interview is being taken by a person, some little experience or little old guy, okay, if they ask you, can you stop a Spot server? Don't just say that no, yes, you can stop. Okay, because if he is not updated, he'll think that you're telling wrong. Just say that earlier we are not able to top the option, but from last 6 months they introduced this concept. Okay, but while selecting certain options while raising the spot server request, you can still shop that server. Okay, any questions on this? So Anil, I saw that question. I would like to address it in while doing the lab. Okay, so always you use spot for non-production workloads. So now I would like to create a spot server, and I would like to, okay, I would like to show how do you create a spot server. Okay, so guys, yesterday, and one more very important point I missed to sell. People whosoever has enrolled, majority of them would got emails like this. Okay, onboarding emails. Okay, so majority of them would have got onboarding emails like this. So please check your emails. People whosoever has confirmed, they would have got emails like this, onboarding email. So where you get most of the access, everything here like this. So this is for the batch 52. This is how you get access to all the documentation, everything going forward. Okay, this most of the people whosoever has confirmed would have got it. So please confirm, or please check your third coordinator. If you confirm, you would have got this email. Okay, so if not, please check with the respective persons. Okay, thank you. If you didn't get it, please check your spam box. Thank you. All right, so following that, the goal for today is I would like to create spot servers, and I would like to also show you how much is the billing and all. Okay. And another important thing is, certain times, sometimes you wouldn't, so you won't get the spot servers. So spot servers go with bidding. They go with bidding. Okay, when I say bidding, so they'll tell you one base price. If you want T3 micro spot server, Right now in North Virginia, the base price is $1. And if I'm ready to pay $1.2, I'll be the first person who will get it. Okay, so there is some base price and there will also some maximum price. Based on the bidding, you will get it. So I would like to show you how to do that. Okay, so first sign into your AWS account. First sign into your AWS account, and this is my trainer.manoverma is my email address. I'm signing in. I entered the password. Okay, now create a server. If you want to go with the create server, you can create that. You can come here, and you can also say, okay, you can also say instances or launch instance. Anything is fine. Launch the instances. Launch the instances. You would get an option. Now I'd like to create the server as my Linux Spot server. Okay, since we are learning about Spot, my Linux Spot server. My Linux Spot server. Now you need to choose the AMI. So browse the AMI, and in the AMIs, CentOS 7 Linux Learning AMI is the name of the image which works with username and password. Click on the community AMIs and select the AMI. This is the AMI which works with username and password. I have mentioned a description. Please do check that and ensure you're in the North Virginia. Yesterday I got more than 5 to 6 uh, doubts on the same thing. So please check you're in the North Virginia region. And among all, I'm interested in T3 micro, not T2 micro. So T3 micro, which gives me more CPU and more gig of memory. Now click that and you proceed without a key pair. I don't want to proceed with a key pair because my AMI is designed to work with a username and password. Click this and all the way scroll down, all the way scroll down, all the way. At the bottom, you have a option called as advanced details. Please click on the advanced details. And in the advanced details, you have an option called as a request spot instance. Please check this request spot instance. And the moment you click the request spot instance, you have an option, the right pane called as customize. Please click on that customize. And once you click on the customize, okay, you also have an option to choose the request type. If you don't choose the request type as persistent, you won't get an option to stop. I'm repeating again. You need to select the request type as persistent. The moment you select the persistent, then only you get an option to stop the server. If not, the only two options are stop and terminate. Okay, I'm going to mention that. And so if you want to set a maximum price, okay, right now the maximum price, okay, right now the price, the base price is 0.045. And if you want to go with something more, you can also mention, I want to pay $1.2. Okay, so there is a maximum price. For example, I don't mind how much they are charging, but I am a person who can afford to a maximum of $1.2. Okay, you can also say the bidding. Okay, right now I don't want to mention the maximum price. I would like to go with the default, and I did mention the request type as persistent. And at the same time, you also have an option called as interruption behavior, and the interruption behavior is something you need to select as stop. If you select those two options, then only you get an option to shut down the server. Okay, then only you get an option to shut down the server. All right, and and the moment you click it, okay, the moment you click it, launch the server, it is going to launch a server, and the server is going to be launched is Spot server. Okay, the request is a Spot server. Now what exactly you are going to do is, okay, so what you did is not creating a server. What you did is raising a Spot request. Okay, how Spot server creation works, how Spot server request goes. Okay, how Spot server request goes, this is how it goes. First you need to place a request, raise a Spot request. Whatever you did is called a Spot server request. Okay, and as per the availability, okay, your request might be processed. Okay, once the request is processed, once the request is processed, then the EC2 server will be created. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me try to show you whether that is true or not. Okay, now here you launch the instance, you click it. Now it came to running state, right? It came to running state. That means your request is processed. How do you come to know whether it is a spot request or not? In the left window, you have something called a spot request. Okay, there is something called as spot request, and this is the request. Okay, this is the request ID. Okay, your spot request has been placed, and the status is active, and the status is fulfilled. That means Amazon has fulfilled your request. Sometimes, not sometimes, many of the times, if Amazon is experiencing high capacity demands because of the premium customers or because of the reserved customers, okay, your request might not be fulfilled. Okay, it is sometimes fulfilled and it won't be fulfilled sometimes. Okay, it's purely as per the Amazon's availability. Okay, but Amazon clearly tells you that whenever I want I can take the instance, whenever I want I can terminate the request. Okay, this is how you can check it. And sometimes it will go for and wait in process or pending state, which means the resource, the request is not at provision, or the request is not yet been fulfilled, which means the server won't be created and the server will stay in the pending state. Okay, here the server will be staying in the pending state. Now if you want to stop this server also, you can stop the server. Okay, this option you won't get if you don't choose that as persistent, and you don't choose, whenever you don't choose the interruption behavior as stop, you won't get this option. Okay, keep this point in mind. Majority of the people still think that you cannot stop a spot server. You can still stop a spot server and can still start a spot server. All right, that is one important point I would like to tell. Any questions on this, anyone? So I have one request, Shaker. So in the middle of the screen, so you have a drop down. Click the drop down and try to select
Yeah,
the ideal.
Varma, I know that I did same.
Uh-huh. Okay, perfect. Thank
But I was facing that your on minimize.
you.
So I would
Yeah,
request.
sure. Send me the screenshot to me. Okay, you're experiencing. Okay.
Manu, I have a question.
Uh-huh. Please. So
Since you created,
Shaker, one minute. Shaker works for you now. I zoomed it.
Yeah, it's very good now. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, please. Someone is asking me.
yeah, this is Raj, Manu.
Yeah,
So
Raj, please
since
do.
you created the Spot instance, you are showing
Uh-huh.
in Spot request. But in
Mhm.
general, how do I check whether my server instance is using on-demand or reserved instance? Where do I check?
Okay, for example, if you select the, okay, for example, you go to spot request, you go to the spot request, and you can see, okay, which instance it is, right? And the instance is this. Copy this ID. Each and every instance will have a ID called as instance ID. Okay, now you search it here, it's gonna show you. Can you see this? This identifies that it is spot server. If not, it is a on demand. All right, and if you create any reserved instance from your reserved plan, you can see them under the reserved instances panel. It states as right now I do not have any reserved instances because I didn't bought any reserved instances. But if you are a company, okay, if you have access, you can purchase reserved instances as well. Okay, don't do that, but if you want, you can do that. Okay, clear?
Yeah, clear, Manu. Yeah.
Okay, if it doesn't fall any of the category, spot or reserve, which means it's a obvious factor that is a on-demand instance. It's a on-demand instance. All right. Now I shut down the server. I would like to start the server. Let's see whether I would get the start server or not. Okay. Sometimes you don't stop because when you stop the server, it will take certain amount of time to start. It is telling that you stopped the server and it is not in an appropriate state to stop. Start. Okay. You need to wait for some time. Okay. This is one limitation. Whenever you shut down the stop server intentionally, you need to wait for 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 minutes of time to start it immediately, which is not the case in on-demand and reserved instances. All right. And another important thing that I would like to talk is, okay, how to terminate a spot server. Okay, how to terminate a spot server. Okay, how to terminate a spot server. Now if you directly go and delete a, if you terminate the spot server directly, it's going to recreate. going to be recreated again. Why? Because you placed a request. Okay, because you placed a request and the request has provisioned you the server, right? Agree or not? Now, if you are deleting the server, the request is still there. That is eventually going to create one more server. Okay, that's going to create one more server. Okay, so whenever you don't want that particular server, what you need to do is you need to go to that particular request, then you need to cancel that request, then only the associated server will not come up. Okay, because in the lab, okay, because we want to go with a very lesser pricing, 95% discounts, we tend to use spot servers more. Whenever you terminate the spot request, spot server, again it comes up, you will think that you have terminated the server, but Amazon in the backend, this request is going to create one more server. So whenever you don't need it, you need to cancel the request. Okay, you need to cancel it. So for example, I can
If
show
you
you.
mention in the
Uh-huh.
auto scale group, then only automatic instance will be spin up, right? If you are not mentioned, it will not spin up, right?
uh, Auto scaling is altogether a different story. That's nowhere related to what we are talking. Okay, auto
Okay.
scaling is altogether a different aspect. It's altogether a different vertical. Okay,
So
we'll
how
talk
can
about that.
if we are terminating means it should be terminated, right? How can it spin up again
Uh,
new one?
that's what the request is doing, right? You are placing a request and the request is creating a server. If you terminate the server, it assumes that it is a human action or a machine action. It is not aware, so it's going to create the server. It assumes that the request is still active, so it still creates a server. Okay,
Okay.
that's the mechanism.
How do
That's
you
nowhere
stop the
related to auto
request?
scaling.
So this
All right,
case apply in only spot instance, right?
100% right. You're 100% right.
So how do you stop the request then, Manoj?
Yeah, I'll go there next. Is it clear so far? Okay, good. So whenever you don't want it, so for example, let me go there. If I would like to start the server, you can start the server. Okay, this is not the case 6 months before, 6 or 7 months before. You never got an option to stop the server, stop the spot server. Okay, so whenever you don't need the spot server, okay, so don't just terminate like this. So if you terminate this immediately in some time, in 2 to 3 minutes, again the request will create one more server. Okay, how do you need to terminate the server? Is you need to go to the request. You need to go to the request and then you need to tell the request, I don't need this request anymore. Either you can cancel the request or interrupt the request. I don't need the request anymore. Okay, I can say cancel the request. The moment you say cancel the request, okay, you can also say cancel the request but not the instance. You can also tell that, or cancel the request along with that instance. Okay, so the request, if you cancel the request, the instances that are created by this request will also be terminated automatically. See this. Okay, I have canceled the request, right? Now if you see this, it is in a cancel. That means resources are going to be terminated. If you go here and check, if you refresh it, can you see this? If you refresh it, it is going to shut down and is going to terminate as well. All right. This is how you need to cancel it. Okay. Majority of the times we do this mistake in the beginning days of our Amazon playground. So try to ensure whenever you don't want a spot request, you need to do that. Okay. You can also raise a spot request from this place. You can come here. Okay. You can also request spot instances from here. Or if you want to see what is the pricing, click the pricing history and which availability zone that you want. For example, I would like, okay, so for example, I would need T3.medium, okay, which is going to give me, okay, which is going to give me 2 CPUs and 4 gig of memory, 2 CPUs and 4 gig of memory. And the moment you said that from the last 1 week, okay, see here, from the last 1 week, okay, so the on-demand pricing is 0.0416, but the spot price in the East 1A is 0.0147, which is very 0.0147, it is very less. And here it is 0.0149 and here it is 0.0149 and here it is 0.0137. Okay, so 0.0137, so dollar to INR. Okay, so for example 0.0137, that means it is 1 rupee 20, 1 rupee 30, 1 rupee 20 paisa per hour. Okay, even if you practice 10 servers for 3 days, you will be just charged 30 rupees per day. That's it. Even if you practice and if you use that much big, okay, it's gonna cost you 1 rupee 20
Man,
paisa.
sorry to disturb you. Can you show me like how you cancel the request, spot instance request? I missed it actually. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, I'll show you again. So you got it, guys. So T3 medium, which is a very big machine, okay, which in fact, if you go with a normal, it's gonna cost you more. But if you go with the spot, it's gonna cost you very, very less. In trainings, okay, we'll majorly go with T3 dot medium, T3 dot micro, which is going to give me 2 CPUs and 1 gig of memory. And if you go with this, it's gonna cost you 0.031, 0.0031. Okay, that means if you go with 0.0031, if you follow my strategy, you'll end up paying very, very less. Okay, it's gonna cost you 25 paisa. That's it. If you're in India, it's gonna cost you 25 paisa per server if you run it for 1 hour. That's the power of Spot, and that's why people are behind Spot servers. Even business, even enterprise business are behind Spot servers. Okay, they want to design the solutions which have both reserved and Spot. The same solution should deliver you both Spot servers and on-demand servers. And even when we are writing Terraform, when we are automating the infrastructure creation, we also follow the same strategy. Okay, so for example, if our project is going to have 20 servers, including high availability, 20 or 22 servers, if you practice 22 servers, okay, T3 micro, so per hour, it's gonna cost you less than 5 rupees. That's it. Okay, which is very, very less. All right, guys. Any questions on this? So let me try to show you one more time how to raise a spot request. So launch a server, my spot server, and browser AMI. Just select that. And into a 7 Linux running AMI.
Manoj, one doubt.
Mhm.
Manoj,
So select
if
this.
the spot, Manoj,
Yeah, please tell me.
yeah, Manoj, if the server is terminated by the if spot server is terminated by the Amazon,
Uh-huh.
is there any chance to recreate the server, or we have to again create the new spot server?
If you lose something, you lost that. That's it in spot. Okay,
It won't
that's what Amazon
come
tells
again,
you.
right?
No,
Okay.
that's what they tells. Spots are not for critical workloads. Did you see the statement?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so if you're really concerned about the workload, don't use spot.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
as I said, it's about trade-off. What you want versus what you can afford. Okay, it's a trade-off.
Okay.
All right. So I'm placing the spot request one more time. So I would like to go with the T3.micro. So I told you, right, guys, if you go with the T3 micro spot, it's just costing you 25 paisa per hour, which is really less. Okay. So that's the reason I would like to go with some bigger instances. Even I suggest every one of you to go with T3 micro, always go with spot, which is going to cost you very less amount. Okay. I would like to go with advanced, and inside that I would like to mention spot and customize that, and request type is persistent, and interruption behavior is stop. The moment you say stop, you get an option to place a request. That's it. Your request is there. Okay. Now, once the request is placed, if you could go to the spot request, you can see the spot request. Okay. If you go to the spot request, you can see that the request is active, which means the request is fulfilled. Okay. And the request type is persistent. All right, guys. Now you can also see the server is booting.
So how to cancel the Spot instance here?
Yeah, we'll go there. Okay, that's how you can create. And if you want to see what is happening in the Amazon backend, okay, for example, sometimes this is also very important interview questions. Okay, if you want to see what's going on in the Amazon front, okay, if you want to see any sort of logs, okay, you can come here and monitor and troubleshoot. There is an option called as get instance screenshot. This is very important option, guys. If your instance is not coming up, that means if your server got stuck at certain operating system layer, if you want to see what's going on, you can also check it here. Okay, so right now it is giving you the login prompt, but certain times if your server got hung, or if it stopped, or if you want to see what is the current state, or if you want to read the logs to troubleshoot further, okay, this is one place where you can check. Okay, get instant screenshot. Okay, this is one of the most commonly asked interview question. Okay, so you can, if the server is taking more time to come up, you can also come and check in the get instance screenshot to understand what is the what do you say, what is the status of your bootstrapping, what is the status of your boot. Okay, now you have created server. Now you don't want the server anymore. You're done with the job and you want to cancel that. All you need to do is come to the spot request and just come here and cancel the request and say that confirm, I would like to cancel the request, which in turn is going to cancel the server as well. Okay. All right. Perfect.
But usually, if we prefer, like if you're working in banking domain or telecom domain, what kind of instances usually they prefer?
Reserved,
It's a reserved
reserved,
instance or
reserved,
reserved, right? Okay.
all the time reserved.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank
Your company will have some agreement with Amazon telling that I'm going to use this much CPU, this much memory for this much year. What is the discount you'll give me? So it's like, technically speaking, there's like bargaining only. It's negotiation only. Okay. Some companies will get 75%, some companies will get 80%. It all depends on how big you are and how big reputation you have with the company.
Okay.
Okay.
I missed today's 20 minutes of the class. May I know like AMI you have created, right? Have you shown the steps how to create the
No,
AMI?
we
Because you
built on,
used you are using the
no,
AMI
no,
snapshot and you are
no,
doing this
no,
instance creation,
no.
right?
I
No,
haven't.
right?
I published an image. You're supposed to use that. How to make AMI when we are talking the Linux and Bash scripting, I'll teach you there. Okay, because there
Oh,
are certain commands, some scripts, some things to run, which will get familiarized once I teach after Linux. Okay,
okay. Yeah.
all right, and yeah, that's it through Spot. Okay, so don't just stop the server. And guys, if you are, if you, for example, every day, if you want to create the same server, for example, if you want to create 10 servers, every day you are coming and creating the server, choosing the instance type and choosing the disk size, okay, and choosing the network, all these things, if you're doing, if you get bored of doing all these things, we have another option in AWS called as instance template. Okay, there is an instance template. Okay. This is with respect to EC2. If you take an instance template, okay, you feed the template. What is a template basically? The raw form. For example, if you're sending some messages to someone, okay, you take the common template. And for example, hi, I'm Manoj Verma, I'm starting a new batch. So every time when I copy paste, that is a template, which I'm going to change only the name, right? So similarly, whenever you want to create the same server a number of times, rather than you feeding all the details all the time, you can create a template. Okay. So fill the template. Instance template helps you to redefine all the often used options. Okay. With a with a single click of a button, with one or two clicks, you can spawn up the servers. Okay, let me show you how to create template, because every day we are going to create lot of servers and every day we are going to terminate lot of servers. So rather than going every time create server and all, rather than that, we'll try to create a template. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a template, launch template. It's not instance template, it's called the launch template, by the way, my mistake. Launch template. Go here, and in the launch template, you just mention, okay, I would like to create a launch template. I would like to create a launch template, and you can mention my spot T3 micro. Okay. So for example, if you are working from project A, you can also mention project B. Okay. This understands that it is created for, okay, this template. Always create description which makes more sense. Okay. Just by looking at it, people should understand what it is. Okay. This template is created to launch T3.micro spot servers for project A. Okay, project A mentioned that way, and you need to mention what is the AMI to use. Okay, every time you don't have to search. So if you create a template, you can use it a number of times. So for example, I would like to say CentOS 7 Linux Learning AMI. Say that, and this is the AMI that you wish to select. Okay, now this AMI is selected. Now instance type, I would like to include it. So every time I'm using T3 micro, can come here, I can say T3 micro, and this option, this is the only option which you cannot, okay. For example, if you're using any key pair, you can mention this value, but whenever you're using, okay, whenever you're using an AMI without a key pair or with username and password, you cannot specify that. That is as per the security. Okay, so I don't want to include this value in the template. That is the only option I need to select. Okay, so I don't want to mention anything else, anything. That's it. I would like to say, and also I would like to mention it as a spot server. You can come here and can mention it as a spot and customize and request type is persistent and interruption behavior is stop. So interruption behavior is stop. You can, that's it. You create the template. That's all. So the moment you create the template, your template is ready. So whenever you have the template ready, so you can create an instance. So for example, you got an option here, launch the instance or launch the instance from a template. I would like to say launch the instance from a template. Okay, I would say I would need 3 servers. I'll go here and say 3 servers, and I'll say the source template is this. Okay, so my spot T3 micro project A. That's all. That's all. Rest of the options, whatever the options that I have given AMI, rest of the options will be filled up automatically. Okay, so AMI, everything are selected. Can you see this? The only option that you need to select is this, proceed without keyword. That's it. You say this, your one server will be coming up. That's all. For example, if you want 2 servers, simple. You come here and say I would need 3 servers now. Actions, launch instance from the template, and the only option that you need to select is, okay, key pair, proceed without key pair. Okay, proceed without key pair. Proceed without a key pair, and the number of servers that you want is 3. For example, just launch it. All the 3 servers are created in a shot. Okay, every day you don't have to come and select all the options, search the AMI, nothing. No. Okay, with a single click of a button, you can create all of them. All right, this is one way of handling the things. All right, guys. So along with that, you also have another option called as launch config. So launch configuration. So launch config is an old school thing. So launch config. Amazon is going to deprecate this option very soon. Okay, so when Amazon was launched, so earlier they were using launch configuration. That also does the same thing, but the enhanced version of it is launch template. Okay, every time you do an update, okay, the only difference between this is, okay, so here whenever you do updates, the updates are not tracked. Okay, here when you change something, some option, changes are not tracked. Okay, what exactly I meant is, for example, if you're changing something, others should know, right? So no one will come to know. That is one bad thing here. And moreover, that is old school thing. And but in launch template, it is not like that. Whatever the changes you made, okay, whenever you change some option, a new version template will be created. Okay, a new version of template will be created. What exactly I meant with the version of it? What exactly I meant with the version of it? For example, if you go to this template, okay, now in the launch template, the launch template, I come here, it has an option called as version. Can you see this? What is the default version to you? What is this version? Let's come here and see. Okay, so for example, I would like to update some version. I would like to update something. Okay, what I would like to update is, okay, modify the template. Okay, modify the template. Okay, now what I would like to do is I would like to do some changes, and the change that I would like to do is uh, mm, 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 mm. I would like to use T3 medium. Okay, I'm doing some changes. Okay, for example, earlier I'm using T3 micro. Now I want to do T3 medium. Now, whenever you do any changes, it's not just like a save button. Okay, if you click, if there is a save button, old changes are gone and the new changes will be coming up, right? But if you say template version, whatever the changes made will be tracked. Can you see this? So successfully modified this template, and because of that, a new version with version 2 has been created. Okay, now for example, whenever you're launching a template, by default the default version is 1. For example, if you want to launch, if you want to modify that, you can also modify that. Okay, so modify the, okay, set the default version as 2. That's it. So every time you do changes, a new version will be coming up. Okay, for example, if I spawn up an instance now, launch instance from this template, and this time it is going to launch with T3 medium. Okay, that's the only difference between template and configuration. Configuration, launch configuration is not something which is nowhere used, but in interview they'll ask you when to use template and when to use launch template. But in reality, none of the places you see launch template. Okay, launch template is the new thing where all the changes are going to be tracked. All right, and this is a new thing, and this is it going to be deprecated very soon, but this is not much widely used. But with respect to interviews, people often ask, okay, have you used launch configuration, when to use launch template and when to choose launch configuration. That's the only difference between launch config and launch template. All right, both of them does the same job, but template does the thing in a little more matured approach. Okay, that's thing. And whenever you want to create any spot request, or when someone requests you to create spot thing, the only thing that you need to do is go to the pricing history and just say which instance you want. All I want is, for example, T3.2x large, some big instance. See the pricing of it. Okay, it's gonna cost you 0.1412 per hour, which is really less. Okay, and couple of another important things that you need to remember. Okay, Amazon has proven, okay, with respect to spot only. Okay, so we are talking about you cannot run the spot server for more than 24 hours, right? So sometimes Amazon will terminate your servers. Okay, and if your server is more than 20, if your server is running more than 24 hours, Amazon is going to stop your server. Okay, again you need to start it. Sometimes if Amazon experiences high demand, anytime they can terminate your request. When I say request, spot request. When spot request is cancelled, it is going to terminate your server as well. Keep this point in mind. And another important point with respect to interview is, okay, so when AWS fulfills your request, when Amazon fulfills your request, okay, Amazon has fulfilled your request. That means, okay, server provision. Okay, because of any reason, if Amazon terminate the request in less than 1 hour, AWS terminates your request in less than 1 hour, you won't be charged. Okay, this is very important point. Okay, very important point. Keep this point in mind. This is also very commonly asked interview question. Okay, clear? Any questions on this? Any questions on this, guys?
No.
Okay, so when Amazon fulfills your request, that means when the request is provisioned and the server comes up, and if Amazon terminates your request because of any reason, okay, because of any reason, the reason can be anything, but the reason output is termination. If that happens in less than 1 hour of your fulfillment, Amazon don't charge you anything. Clear? And throughout the trainings going forward, please prefer to use only T3 microservers. So they give you phenomenal performance. Okay, so people yesterday have asked me what is T2 and T3. T2 stands for second generation hardware, and T3 is third generation hardware, guys. T3 is the third generation hardware, so where you get the latest brand new hardware. All right, so my servers are provisioned. Now what do? I don't need all these servers. I would like to cancel certain requests. Come here. I don't need those many servers. Let me cancel the request, few of the requests. Let me cancel few of them, and let me keep one active. Let me try to keep the certain things active. Okay, so I would like to connect to this server. Click that. Okay, and let's try to copy the public IP. Open your Excel. If you are comfortable with Excel, use Excel, or if you are comfortable with Putty, use Putty. Anything is fine. Okay, but in trainings I prefer going with, okay, these the options, just because this is more comfortable for me. Okay, so SSH CentOS at the rate IP address. SSH stands for secure shell, and CentOS is a username at the rate IP address. Okay, the server IP address, the same thing, just like the cloud queries at the rate gmail.com. The cloud queries, which is a username, at the rate gmail.com, is a server address. Okay, now enter the password, and the password is PASSWORD123.
Hello.
So guys, from today, we would like to focus more on Linux. And when I say focus more on Linux, we are going to learn Linux as an engineer. Okay. So we don't learn Linux as a Linux administrator. So we learn Linux like a DevOps engineer, like a cloud and DevOps engineer. Whatever the options that are needed, whatever the things that are needed for our survival, and whatever the things that are absolutely needed to clear the interview, those aspects will primarily focus. Okay, but we'll start from ground zero. If any one of you know Linux, you might feel bored 1.5 to 2 hours, but trust me, people who don't know, it's going to be really interesting. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yes, Pano.
Hello. Hello.
Please tell me, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, I am asking Manu that we
Uh-huh.
are covering the concept of virtualizations and what is virtualization and virtual box, these things later or
Mm,
something.
VirtualBox is like, okay, for example, you want to learn Linux, for example. Okay,
Yes.
that's not needed because we are already covering real-time servers, right? So let's take, you are having a
That's why I'm
Windows
asking. The
computer.
AMIs are the concept of virtualization.
Um, just give me a couple of minutes. Okay, VirtualBox comes into picture if you're using a Windows machine. For example, if this is your Windows computer, okay, and on this computer, if you want to learn Linux, or if you want to use the resources and you would like to create small VMs on the top of it. Okay, for example, this is your Windows computer and you want to create a Linux server with zero point 0.5 CPU and zero point 0.5 RAM. How can you do that? Okay, this is only possible if you install a software called as, okay, VMware VirtualBox or Oracle VirtualBox. Okay, this is also one way, but Amazon itself is offering you uh, an option to consume the real servers, and that's the reason we are leveraging the advantages of cloud. Okay, but even in VirtualBox, you don't get 100% features of Linux, so we don't go with the Oracle VirtualBox because it's gonna be little immature. Okay, because you don't get most of the options. So let's try to use this real servers rather than using the VirtualBox. Okay, Abhi? Also, you're asking about how do you take AMI and
Yes.
all, right?
Yes.
So AMI and all, we'll talk about how to make AMI tomorrow, because once we know, if you want to make a difference between certain things are there or not, you need to know certain things in Linux. So we'll learn them and then we'll try to make AMIs out of it. All right. Yes, making AMIs is a part of the curriculum, but we need to know few basics in Linux, and then we can really identify whether AMI
Yes,
makes
I
our
am
life
asking
more
that
easier or not.
AMIs are the virtual images which was created inside the servers,
By Amazon,
to
yes.
by Amazon.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Virtualization is just a concept. That's it. Okay. Which helps you in creating the server, which Amazon in the backend is doing. All right.
Manu, I have one question. Currently,
Please.
do we use launch template in the organizations, right?
Yeah. Everywhere you use
Okay.
that only. Launch template only you use.
Okay, got
But
it.
yeah, because if you're doing the same task a number of times, typically we go with templates to make life more easy. Okay, because
Got
from
it.
Monday, once the project gets started, we often create servers, often destroy servers. So it's gonna take a hell lot of time. So with templates, it's gonna make life more easy. All right.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
So yeah, we'll try to do things in a very smart way, which should save a lot of our time. That's the main idea. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I would like to talk few more things. So as I said, we'll learn Linux as a cloud and DevOps engineer, not like a Linux admin, because the line that we have taken is we want to be a cloud and DevOps guy, not a Linux admin. First thing, if you want to learn Linux, there are three fundamentals you need to understand. If you want to learn Linux, you need to know 3 points. Remember 3 points. Okay. First thing, in Linux, everything is a file. Okay. Everything is a file. Keep this point in mind. If you want to change something or if you want to update something, for example, if you want to restart the server, or if you want to create a file, or if you want to destroy a file, or if you want to update a file, or if you want to edit a file, anything, everything is a file. Okay, is a file. This is very important. In a Linux, everything is a file. And second thing, Linux is case sensitive, which means a file with the name a.txt and capital A.txt are different. Okay, a.txt and Windows, there is no concept of, okay, for example, in Windows, if you create a file with devops.txt, okay, and if you create the same file with capital D devops txt, it says that file already exists. In Linux, it's not like that. Linux is case sensitive. Okay, and that's the reason if you execute the password as password 123, it will not work. Linux is case sensitive. Keep this point in mind. In Linux, okay, there is no concept of recycle bin. Okay, which means if you lost something, you delete accidentally, you lost that. Okay, so when you're deleting something, when you're updating something, you should be diligent, you should think twice. Okay, it's not like Windows, which is going to help you undo button. Okay, this is one important thing that you need to understand. Okay, these three are very gold points that I'll teach anyone to start with when you're learning Linux, everything is a file. Okay, so if you think in Linux everything is a file, in interviews you can answer majority of the things because your thought process will change if you think that in Linux everything is a file. Okay, you name something in Linux, everything is a file. Even the disks that are attached are also referred as file. All right. Second thing, in Windows, who is the super user?
Admin.
Administrator.
Administrator is a super user. Means he can do anything. Can do anything. In Linux space, okay, in the space of Linux, super user is root. Root. Okay, this is the user account, and this is common across any flavor of Linux. Across all the 300 plus officially recognized Linux, root is the default. Okay, root is the account which comes up by default in every installation. Okay, in Linux, root is the super user. Majority of the times, 99% of the times, you should not have a password. Okay, you should not share the password of root to anyone. Okay, that's very important thing. Okay, so how do you manage all these things? We'll talk extensively tomorrow. Okay, from tomorrow we are going to hit Linux is very important. So I have given you the best platform, like how do you practice, so how can you leverage the free tier features that are given by Amazon, and what are the available building types in AWS, and which type we are going to pick. All these things are covered. With whatsoever we have learned, I'll ensure that you will encounter lesser billing, and we are going to learn to the best and the core of it. All right. Any questions, anyone?
No, no, sir.
Wonderful. So, Bharat, you're saying we can use sudo as Linux, right? Yes, Bharat, you're right. Sudo is something we can use, but we'll talk about sudo when to use tomorrow's session. Tomorrow, somewhere we are going to start with it. Okay. And one more thing, guys, before I wrap today, people whosoever has confirmed the subscription, okay, majority of the people would have got emails. In case if you didn't get an email, please do check that mailbox. You would have got an email. Okay, please do check. All right. And second, meeting link remains the same for the next couple of days. The meeting links remain the same. So please try to join on time. Right, guys?
Uh, Hello.
Any
Sir,
questions, anyone?
actually, I have a question, sir.
Uh-huh.
So, for cloud technology, new to the actually who are new to the cloud technologies,
Uh-huh.
so for them, it's AWS with DevOps is good, or Azure with DevOps is good, sir.
If you are aiming
Job
for a
purpose.
job perspective, with respect
Yeah.
to the job aspect, AWS has a wide scope, wide scope. And second thing, learning just AWS cannot help you in job aspects, because in any job description, you'll see the job descriptions like we are looking for a cloud engineer
Yeah,
with
multiple things
Kubernetes,
they're asking. Yeah.
yes, Terraform, and Prometheus skill set. So like that earlier, if you just know cloud, you can survive, but people are not doing things manually. Okay, so the cloud engineers are supposed to know DevOps, and DevOps guys should know cloud. Okay, and that's the reason majority of the jobs are DevOps engineer with cloud skill set, or cloud jobs it's DevOps skill set. If you just learn AWS or if you just learn Azure, you cannot get a job. I mean, the chances of you securing a job are very minimal. Okay, so in the day one, I have shown you a few of the job descriptions, either in India Naukri portal or in US Dice portal. You check, 98% of the jobs will tell you we are looking for a cloud engineer with a Terraform skill set, Kubernetes skill set, Jenkins skill set. Okay, because down the line we are not going to click the options and do. We are going to
Hello,
do
sir.
some miracles with the automation.
Okay.
Okay, also with respect to job market, AWS have a huge scope, so that's the reason we started with AWS. Okay,
Uh,
Okay.
Hello, sir.
please tell me.
Sir, I want to ask you that if someone wants to join
Uh-huh.
uh, from Monday or from Friday, is it possible for him to cope up with the message, or from tomorrow,
Uh,
if he she missed the 2 3 days classes,
that's fine.
is it
Whatsoever we have
from
covered
the
are very, very
Linux?
basic.
From because the Linux is starting from tomorrow. You said if she if someone
Okay, I
wants to
understand.
join
I understand.
from tomorrow, uh, he
Whatsoever we
can
have
join.
covered are very minimal and basic, assuming we all know nothing and we started. So from tomorrow, the actual content is going to start. Okay,
The basics which
whatsoever
are covered for 2 3 days, uh,
they are
is scoop
achievable.
up achievable.
They are achievable.
Yeah, actually, we missed first 2 days classes. And what is the class course duration? Is how many months? Is 1 month or 2 months?
It's a 11 to 12 weeks training program, Monday to Saturday. If you are in India, 7:30 to 9 o'clock are the batch timings.
Approx 3 months.
Yes, it's a complete hands-on training. We are going to deal with 2 projects, the entire training. Okay,
Goal is to get job.
sorry.
Total how many
Goal
days?
is to get a DevOps job.
Market is high. Okay, so the only thing is people are behind the skilled engineers. That's it. Market is really high, that I can say.
But most of the people are losing jobs in US, sir.
Uh, that's not a true statement, man. Even I'm in US. That's not a true statement. People are losing jobs, and at the same time, people are getting jobs. People like to talk more about negativity. So I'll give you an example. So in one news, Twitter has mentioned that Twitter fired 3,000 employees. The very next day, they announced they hired 2,000 employees, right? So that no one covered it. So the power of
Like
negativity is way
Amazon
high than
recently,
power of positivity.
recently Amazon fired some 10,000 employees, right? I saw the news actually. I'm also living in US now, so I'm from New
Yeah,
Jersey.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
so
That's fine. Don't think in that perspective. People are losing jobs. Think in a perspective where you can get the opportunity. That's it. Okay. So,
It's all not tech people got fired. Some are HR, some from management. So it's not like all tech people.
right. And people who are fired from sales are not considered as techies, right? I mean, let's not focus on that, guys. So you should see if you want to start your journey, you should be prepared. You should wait for the train. That's it. You be prepared and you wait, and the opportunity knocks, you pick it. That's it. And all of a sudden, if someone says after 3 months and says that we are going to hire 1 lakh jobs, you are not market ready, right? Your job is to be market ready. That's what you need to make. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So it doesn't matter how many people were being fired and how many people are being hired. That doesn't matter. Whatever you want, you be behind that. So down the line, that is achievable.
so I am from middleware background, so actually like a WebLogic and WebSphere I'm supporting. So if I
Mhm.
learn AWS with DevOps, which will be useful, right? Like how many years I can experience I have, like I can mention in the resume
If you
post this
complete
course.
my training, if you complete my training 120 hours honestly on a day-to-day practice, you can easily show 4 to 7 years of experience. You're almost like 4 to 7 years of experience as a professional.
Okay, because
Okay,
I have 10 plus years of experience. In that, mostly 8 plus years into
that's fine.
middleware side.
That's fine. It's achievable. But you come genuinely and practice genuinely, be honest to yourself with the content, you can achieve it. I have seen a lot of people, and this is my 53rd batch. Okay,
And
Because
if
I
I
have
everything
may
only
is
add,
visual.
even I have a AWS experience, but I have only one year hands-on experience. But it's long back. I worked like around 2016. I worked in AWS.
You will see a different picture in the training. Okay,
I'm get to
a
know.
way
Yeah,
different picture in the training.
yeah. Most of the
Okay,
things are
because
changed now. Yeah.
learning something just because create a server destroys not the business. There is way behind that. Okay, so it's all about strategy, approach, and the line of approach, and how you are heading towards the line of approach taken by the business is what the approach and which people look at in an interview. That's what we are going to learn. And if you observe in the training itself, majority of the times we focusing on what could be the use case and how to resolve that, how in interview you need to handle is the aspects where I'm focusing in a gold standard.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll try to be more diligent on those aspects more. Okay.
for tomorrow's Linux classes, we have to install Excel or the hello
Try to
in our
install
Windows
and
in
keep
our
all the
Windows
things
platform
ready. Try to install and keep the things ready. Okay. So the softwares that you need to install are Excel. Okay.
for
Try
Linux
to install
in
that.
Windows now.
Yes. You are see if you are a Windows guy, use Excel.
Okay.
Okay. If you have a Linux machine, don't install anything. You don't have to install anything because Linux comes by default most of the things.
The Git bash is also worked for Linux terminal
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Windows.
Yeah, yeah, it works. Anything is fine. Anything is fine. I'm okay with anything. Or you can also install putty. All I want is I want you two guys to connect to the server. That's it. I don't mind whether you use Excel or Git bash or putty. I'm okay with anything. All you want is you should be able to connect to Linux and you should practice. That's the only thing that I need. All right, guys. Any questions, anyone? So, guys, from tomorrow, try to practice on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So that yeah.
Manoj,
Thank you.
hello.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Manoj, I have missed Monday, Tuesday class, and yesterday also the video not up to the mark. I can't see Windows yesterday, so last three classes I have missed. So
Sure. Please reach out to the person who has shared the meeting link, so they would be able to share you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You can talk to the coordinator. He will give you. Or if you have
Yeah.
joined
Thank
from
you.
some XYZ platform, please try to reach out to the platform admin.
Okay.
Yeah, Dinesh, please tell me.
Oh, now it makes sense. I thought she was another character in the story.
Anything else, guys?
Manu, one question.
Yeah, please tell me.
Is it okay to start the session by 7 EST, something like that?
Sorry. So the commitment is already given.
Okay.
So yeah, based on the commitment only people have enrolled. So timing should remain same. Okay, because I have participants from US and India. Everyone will plan their schedule and committed and enrolled. So I have to be diligent. So I should not
Okay.
change the schedule.
Okay. Okay.
it, it is possible na, to complete the sessions till 8:45 or 8:50 a.m. in India. Uh,
So we'll try to be close to wrap it before 9 itself. Sometimes it will be
yes, yes.
8:50, sometimes it will be 8:45, sometimes it will be 8:55, 9. So it depends. Some
Oh,
topics need some more time. Some topics will end up little early as well. But you should be ready till 9 India time. Okay. But I might leave you
okay,
little early as well, like how I'm doing all these days.
okay. Please
Okay.
try to finish it till 8:45 if possible. Other thing, don't worry. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
What is
I
it?
mean, each
May
and
I leave,
everyone will
sir?
have a different requirement. So if I'm aligning with each
Okay.
and every one requirement, so that will not issue.
Yes.
So the timings are 7:30 to 9. Those are fixed. And I might leave you guys 5 to 10 minutes little early. That is a may or may not case, but these are the
Yes.
timings, defined timings. And even if you miss
Thank
5 10 minutes of session, you would get the recording in less than 30 minutes. You can catch up the 5 minute session. Maybe last 5 minutes we are opening the platform for questions. So technically you might not miss anything.
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Okay, sir. May I
Yeah,
leave, sir?
yeah,
Thank
please.
you.
Hello,
Please, Abhi, your wish. Please.
hello,
We are going to address the questions that
Manoj.
Abhi. Yeah,
Manoj?
Hello,
yeah, please
Manoj.
tell me.
Hello.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
is there any
I
difference
have a
between the
question for
morning and
you.
the evening class?
How can I get your details for this
I
course?
mean, you are saying India time and the US time is there, right?
Okay,
So
so
I
India
meant
and
two
US are
classes.
9.5 hours ahead. Okay, so
Okay.
it's my time. I'm in US. It's 10:30 is my time. Okay,
Okay.
so
So
10:30
why
India
can't I?
time is
I shall. Can I attend the US session? Is there any possible way? So I'm working.
no, no,
So
no. No, it's not like US separate and India separate. The timing is
okay.
same. Okay, for example, India and US are 9.5 hours ahead, right? India is ahead of 9.5 hours of time, right? For example, uh,
So you are right.
just say the
So
conduct code.
I can attend the yesterday's session.
Yeah, yeah.
So
If you see this here, 7:30 India time. Okay, 7:30 India time is 9 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, so technically I'm not taking two classes. Okay, so I have students, people joining from US and India. So I'm telling both the times. Okay, 7:30 India time, 7:30 morning is like a 9 p.m. US time. All right. And if you miss certain sessions, last two sessions, just please reach out to the person who has shared you the link. He should be able to share you. Okay, if I'm the person who shared you, just message me, you will get it. All right.
okay.
Any questions, guys? And try to practice them and just terminate the servers which are no longer used. That saves you money, even though it is less. Try to stop them or terminate the servers when they are not in use. That ensures that gives you the better discipline of billing. Okay, and that's for today. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow in the session the same time, and meeting link remains the same. Session starts by 7:30 a.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern. That's for today, guys. Thank you very much. Signing off. See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Manu.
Bye. See you guys.
Thanks, Manoj.
Thank you, guys.